heat wave today was 100 out.
Mm.
Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run come give me the roots and culture. Chase them vulture. Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run come give me the roots and culture. Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run come give me the roots and culture. Chase them vulture. Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run come give me the roots and culture. Bone vampire entire. It's passion. Give me. Alright. I love to feel your body when it's close to mine. When you and I become as one, it sends a thrill to me. When Rasta man them come together like the torch and the wicked catch a fire. Tell you what I woe. When they get to you, them try fi better and the system try fi turn them in a shatter. Tell you what I woe. One Babylon highly Selassie rain down lightning and thunder. Tell you what I woe. Tell you what I woe. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Stars among stars. We. Lights, camera, someone.
Carnival is a movie with women in the festival. Yes. Carnival is a movie with women in the bacchanal. Carnival is a movie with women with the pretty girl. Carnival is a movie. This one is international.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Good evening, good night, wherever you're at. Yep. Good night to all the listeners. Of course, this is the conversation with yours truly, Malachi, Selector Sherwin, and of course Martin Al Amin each Tuesday. Just around this time. Average, right? That's when we come up with the conversation. Tonight we're gonna be talking a little bit about corruption versus communication. We're gonna be diving into a lot of that corruption versus communication. But before we get too far, you know what we gotta do? We gotta drop that disclaimer first. So Sherwin, let them get a disclaimer, please.
Yes, disclaimer goes as the views and information of or opinion expressed during this program are solely those of the host, guests, and callers involved in the program and do not necessarily represent the views of Majestic Music Radio, its management, and other hosts or advertisers. Majestic Music is not responsible and does not verify for accuracy of any of the information contained in this radio program. This program does not constitute medical or professional advice and is solely for entertainment purpose only.
All
Well,
right.
you know what we say. Entertainment only. Verify that. Google that. Like we just say, Google and go to some credible sources and get your information as well to verify what we're saying is factual. So what we kicking it off with tonight? Which aspect of corruption versus communication?
So I think since the minister aspect is very popular and talked about,
Very hot right now.
Yes.
It's on the charcoals right now on the grill.
let's deal with the misinformation information or
Yes.
miscommunication,
Well,
which leads
I
into corruption.
let me stick to the same word. That was miscommunication. That was that wasn't a miscommunication. That was deliberate. A lot of
Well,
the stuff is being deliberate, and that is something I can't understand.
mhm,
If we have, for example, we know, and I'm going to share a personal experience in order to kind of, people can look at a scenario and understand it for what it is,
mhm,
and not look at it from a standpoint of, oh, maybe apolitical or not. Now, the issue of the minister being escorted from the airport out,
mhm,
is, it's in my estimation, that's nothing new, because at one point in time, when I was traveling to the US, I don't know if maybe it was this the check-in clerk or somebody who thought that, hey, this guy looks pretty young and he seems to be traveling a little too often. So
exactly.
apparently they put, like, internally they put a flag next to my name. So when I got there was a bit of a delay. The customs anti narcotics unit, Kanu, and all of them came. Um, I was searched. My flight, I missed that flight because of the search and the delay. However, they were quite courteous. They ensured that I got my flight back a few hours later on, and I got up to New York. When I did get up to New York, immediately I was, as soon as I got off the plane and I was walking in like everybody else, I saw a police officer in, not in plain clothes, but in his uniform, and he was asking, "Is can I get on to Mr. Gilbert?" And I said, "Here." And I was like, "Oh boy, don't tell me this is another scenario from Guyana to New York." So when he called me, and I went to him, he said, "Okay, could you come with me, please?" And I said, "Sure, no problem." I'm walking with him. He goes towards the top of the line, all right, where the immigrations officers are. He asked me for my passport. I gave it to him. He took my passport to the immigration officer. That was stamped, returned to me, and he said, "Sir, thank you very much. Have a nice day." So he basically walked me right through the process to the front so I can get stamped and through.
Mhm,
Because obviously, information was relayed from Guyana that, listen, this guy was unfairly um, taken off his flight, and it was time to expedite whatever movement he had going on. So from that perspective, I saw that happen, and when I saw the video of the same kind of escorting the minister, I was like, nah, he's not under arrest, because if he's under arrest, they usually will put their hands on you. They'll either
mhm,
hold an arm or they'll put their hands on your shoulder to indicate that you're under duress. All right.
hmm.
Now, if they're walking with you and they're talking with you, nah, that is a simple case where maybe they realize, okay, there's a minister of the Guyanese government coming in on that flight. So at that point, realizing from the manifest that is in there, while he's coming off the plane, they decided, okay, could we just get some officers to expedite his process through? And that is exactly what we saw. We saw him being escorted through. We didn't see any hands-on, as though you are under arrest or you will be incarcerated.
Correct.
All right. So that's my take on it. I mean, that has happened to me, so I know how
Mm.
that goes. So that's a personal experience. So
So
I share that.
I kind of agree with you, Malachi, whereby I too have experience from the first day I would have walked into America,
Yeah.
right? They usually take you into a back room. And with my experience, they took my entire family into a back room, of course, to process the documents. But this
Mm-hmm.
was our first time traveling abroad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And first experience. So they would put him in the back room, leave us for a couple hours, see how you act, how you behave, and these sort of things while they
Mm-hmm.
verify the documents, plus waste your time, to be honest. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and let you go. Years after, when I continued to travel by myself, I had pretty much the same experience as you did, whereby officers would have pulled you out the line directly, whether it be the back or the front. They're going to tell you, call your name, tell you come with them. In my case, I went back into the back room a couple of times, right? So I
Yeah.
know how it looks by now, unless they change
Yeah,
it.
I mean, no, I mean somebody who's looking on, like for example, the people who were in the line with me. I mean, I know what was running through the minds of some people, like, oh God, another young black man. He probably
Well,
brings
naturally,
drugs.
it ran through our minds because we do not know, or we did not know why we were being, pulled out to the line at that moment until after. Then we could actually come and say, well, this is what exactly happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
saw it, man.
Mhm.
So years go by. A couple years ago, I traveled back to Miami, and one officer asked me, and just so it's clear that everybody knows, just like Guyana have the police officers, is the immigrations officer, is the same thing over there, right? Whether they I'm in plain clothes, civilian clothes, or in uniform. It happens the
Correct.
same way at Chetty Jagan Airport, same way in New York, same way in Miami, and everywhere else, I would believe. Now,
Yep.
one time I was taken off a flight in Guyana, but that was because Canoe forgot to check my bags, right? And because of who I am, how I travel, they wanted to make sure, well, hey, we go through this luggage and put you back on the plane. So they actually took me off the plane and everything. And I was a bit frustrated, but then understanding the process makes your job easier because
Yep.
you don't have to rail up and go on and these sort of things, right? So it's experience like these is where we could come and speak on what we seen the minister went through, right?
Good. Well,
But
before go ahead,
go ahead.
Marty. Sorry. No, I was
No,
just gonna say.
go ahead,
No,
continue.
go ahead. No, I was just gonna say on your point there. That's a very good point. I think we need to look at the things that happen before we just come up with a judgment or a conclusion.
Well,
It's
I
good.
think that is the problem within itself because we could look and see what happened or, come up with our conclusion on spot because we had the experience.
Experience, correct.
Unfortunately, a lot of our journalists who was broadcasting these information doesn't have these type of experience
Yeah.
because they haven't traveled enough,
Yeah.
right? And then if you're traveling like me, like I said, I am an important person. So when I travel in my luggage, I don't lock my suitcase anymore because it don't make sense for me to lock it because I know you're going to go into it, right? So I stop locking my suitcase. All the big zip and padlock and thing what we used to do back in days, I don't do that. But what I do is have my business registration because I do own a private security company, which that in itself is a red flag with the ATF and Canoe, right? So I
Yeah.
present my documents on top of my suitcase. So as soon as you boss me thing, you're gonna see me security uniform, you're gonna see me jacket, you're gonna see me business registration, me whole entire bio, everything on top there. So you don't have to pull me out to the line or come looking for me and embarrass me in any way because my information is right there. And I was told to do this by an officer in the US, right? Because I was asked, why are you traveling so much? And I was like, man, I got family back home and I got business back home. And he asked, what you do on these sort of things. And I let him know. So he said, well, next time you're traveling, instead of saying that you're traveling on vacation and personal, you put that you're traveling on business because you are a businessman.
Yeah.
Right? And that way, my travels became easier. Even when I went to Jamaica, when I travel anywhere else, my travels is easy. You are always going to be asked questions no matter what. And if they don't ask you question, then they have the eyes on you, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
So this is a sign of misinformation,
Big
right?
time. Big time.
And wherever the source came from, it was just a pickup, and everybody jump on it, and they just went
No.
straight.
I think it was. I think it was a direct angle because we're gonna play news source report
Okay.
on that exact happening, and just what I want the audience to do is to listen carefully to what is being said in the news story, and look at, and then I'm going to read a bit of information that came directly from the U.S. Embassy on the same issue. So let's see if those two things align, which is the news story and the statement from the U.S. Embassy. Those two things need to align. So once those arguments align, then we can say, okay, we have fair journalism and stuff happening. All right. Until then, we know if it doesn't align, we know something is going skewed. Somebody has an angle in a particular direction in terms of disseminating information. All right. So, Martin, you got that news story from news source. All right. Let's roll that, and let the audience be the judge.
That should be playing for some reason. They want to play now.
Yes. I tell you, it's playing now.
All right, let me fix that back and we come back to that.
Yeah, we can come back to that. But in the meantime, all right.
So I really I'm really puzzled at this this whole issue, because there was a lot of write up, and merely it was a lot of blogging. Is there any good news source that has an agent is working overseas or in different parts of the world? Like we always stress on, NCN should be the prime news source for the Guyanese people, and should have been paying overseas agents or overseas reporters to be getting information as they should whenever it's happening.
One of the things they should have been doing as a major media house is that they should have been associate members to international forums that can provide credible information to them. For example, credible information coming from, for example, news sources like Reuters and stuff like that, where you have several
mostly reporting, and here's
confirming the same thing. All right. Apparently, Martin, we ready for that news? Story. Great. So let's have that news story on news source from Gordon Mosley, which deals with this particular issue with the escort of the minister at JFK. Go right ahead.
I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. Guyana's Minister of Natural Resources, Vikram Bharat, has denied that he was questioned or interrogated by U.S. authorities upon arrival in New York on Thursday evening. However, he has stated that courtesies were extended to him when he arrived in New York, and he chatted with agents about Guyana's development plans. Contacted via WhatsApp today, the minister, who posted photographs on Facebook this afternoon outside a U.S. hospital where it is believed his father is hospitalized, told news source that he was not detained or interrogated. He said no questions either, and it was courtesies, and that they were chatting about Guyana's development. Further questioned about whether the U.S. officials who were seen escorting him through JFK Airport identified themselves as federal agents, Minister Barra did not respond. However, in a Facebook post, he offered special thanks to the U.S. authorities for kind courtesies and professionalism, while wishing his hospitalized father a speedy recovery. Contacted by news source and asked about whether the government minister offered any explanation to him about what might have taken place at the JFK airport, President Irfan Ali said there was nothing to explain. The president pointed to the Facebook post by the Natural Resources Minister. Reports surfaced early this morning about the minister being escorted from the flight and questioned by U.S. federal agents upon his arrival in New York on the Caribbean Airlines direct flight from Guyana. While government officials have stated that there was nothing out of the ordinary about the escort of the minister after he arrived, news source has learned that the Guyanese government diplomatic officials in New York were unaware of the minister's travel arrangements. In Guyana, airport officials were alerted to his travel after receiving a request for him to use the airport's VIP lounge, along with 3 members of his family and his driver. When the minister arrived in New York aboard the Caribbean Airlines flight, he was met by 2 U.S. federal agents dressed in plain clothes and a uniformed officer. The 3 were seen escorting him through the airport, as captured on this video. Officials familiar with U.S. protocol said active U.S. federal agents and uniformed officers are never used to greet or escort a Guyana government official at the level of a minister. They said that post is considered low-key, and as such, mostly retired protocol officers would be used if there is such a need. One official stated that the presence of 2 plainclothes federal agents and a uniformed officer would indicate that there was a serious issue or an ongoing investigation, and questions were likely asked by those agents. As Natural Resources Minister, Vikram Bharat overlooks the gold mining sector, which has come under scrutiny by the U.S. authorities over smuggling concerns. Just recently, 2 Guyanese businessmen, Nazar and Azruddin Mohammed, were sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury Department in relation to allegations of under-declaration of their gold exports and the non-payment of more than $50 million in taxes to the Guyanese authorities. A permanent secretary in the government, May Thomas, has also been sanctioned by the U.S. over her alleged role in a bribery scheme that involved.
All right. So there
It was
you
a lot.
have, that was a lot. But if you noticed the what is called the direction in which that news story went.
Yes.
All right. I'm trying to understand if he was escorted, which we can see on the video.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He wasn't arrested. He did state that I was escorted, but I was not arrested. I was not interrogated by any law enforcement body at the airport. All right. That was what was stated. Attaching the recent case of the Mohammed's family, all right, and the fact that their sanction in the gold industry and the underlying messaging that that person is responsible for the natural resources sector, all right, is what we call pinning a situation that throws a bit of shade on the minister. All right. Now, that's okay as a journalist if you've got a particular angle. But what I always tend to say with news stories is that we don't tend to see what is called the follow-up. All right. Because just like that news story came out, hours later, there was a statement made by the US Embassy, wasn't there?
Correct.
All right. So while that's still fresh, let's bring up this statement from the US Embassy.
I believe you have that part on you.
Yes. Let me just bring that up really quickly.
So, in the meantime, right?
Yeah.
Without even listening to the recent report that we played and just paying attention to everything else. Now, like we mentioned, these is things that happen to high profile people. Now, every time I pass through the airport, even in Guyana, I ask the immigration officer, how do I end up in that VIP line? Because I refuse to stand in a line with 101 body, especially during COVID, since COVID, right? And then I believe I'm a very important person.
Of course.
So I do not belong in the general population line. One
Well,
immigration officer did said, well, she asked, what do I do? And all these things I mentioned. I'm a journalist. I do
Mhm.
radio broadcasting. I have a private security company and so
Yeah.
forth. And she said, well, that don't make you a VIP.
A VIP.
So I asked, well, if VIP means very important person, and I'm telling you I have all of these things, what is your definition of a VIP? Because I'm a king. I don't know who you is. So
But
I don't belong with the peasant line.
their definition of VIP would be actually if you got that DPL passport.
Yeah,
That
but you
says
can't. That is a diplomat.
that's a
You see,
diplomat.
this is the problem with the English, right?
No, I know. This is where they have an issue because they're thinking diplomat goes
Correct.
to VIP line. Where there is room in the VIP. The VIP is also for the diplomatic corps as well.
A lot.
You know,
Actually, it
but
is separate. In Guyana, Malachi,
yeah,
coming
in
through the
Guyana
there's
airport,
two VIP lines. One on the
correct.
outskirts and the one where the wheelchairs usually pass through because there's
Yeah,
two booths. And
yeah,
we don't pay attention. We like to stand and bulk up ourselves in one line.
in
But
one
when
line.
you see the
That's a
flight
fact.
attendant or the flight crew in general
The
walk
pilots and
past you,
every
where you
walk
think they
past
go
it.
in?
Yep, that's the very important thing. but just before let's read what the U.S. Embassy statement had
Go
to
ahead.
say with this particular issue. Um, the Embassy of the United States of America in Georgetown has vindicated Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat after confirming that he was neither questioned nor detained by U.S. authorities upon his arrival at the JFK airport in New York on Thursday last. And I quote, as Minister Bharat stated, he met with authorities upon arrival at the JFK, but was neither questioned nor detained. The government of Guyana has made no inquiries regarding the meeting, the embassy told news source in a statement yesterday following questions about the incident. On Friday, veteran journalist Enrico Wolford alleged in a social media post that the government minister was escorted and escorted off the plane and questioned by federal agents at the JFK airport last night, 11th July 2024. So that was a statement. That was a post done by Enrico that kind of said that
This
the
whole
minister
story,
was
this whole story is just mixing me up because I'm trying to be on a common sense side of things now. Okay,
Yeah.
so this whole event happened where this guy was leaving the country unknown to the government. Right? Remember that was one of the statements made.
right. That was one of the things.
All right,
That was
good.
one of the
So
things
let's
that he said.
just listen to my steps.
No,
Now,
but hold on. No, but when you say that, hold on, Sherwin. When you said unknown to the government, was that confirmed or was that this is what we call injecting information? Because where did that information come from? How did the journalists know that Mr. Vikram did not inform the government of his travels?
Mm-hmm.
all right, anyway, fine
Mhm.
then. But he's
Mhm.
leaving the country, right?
Yeah,
And then he gets to JFK.
correct.
Agents just pull up on you. For what reason? There had to be a reason for them pulling up on you. Now, they can just pull up and say, okay, our name is Agent X, Agent Y, and we just want to make sure that we be your company until you get to the immigration officer. He said that according to what his statement is saying, he said that they were having conversations about the development and all these different things in Guyana.
All right, but hold on, Sherwin. Let's
Correct.
go back. Let's go back. Let's go back to what you were saying earlier.
Mhm.
Let's go back to them going to him to escort him. All right. Now, as Martin and I stated earlier, we were both escorted. I was escorted before. Martin was escorted before. Now, there's protocol in terms of how that happens. All right. Now, I don't think they just came up to him and announced da 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 da. What I
No,
think,
they have to recognize themselves. I'm
no,
Agent
no,
X. I'm Agent
no,
Y
that's understood. But
from
I'm telling you
XYZ.
how they got there. How they got there was
Right.
based on the manifest from the aircraft of the individuals on that aircraft. That's how those agents knew he was on the aircraft.
Okay.
Now, from that manifest, even before he landed at JFK, they knew that he was landing. So when he landed,
Correct.
those officers moved to front and said, okay, we'll take him out of the line and bring him to the front of the line. Because it's the exact same thing I was explaining that happened to me. They
Okay.
knew that this person had an issue in Guyana before leaving the Chetty Jagged International Airport. There was a delay. That delay ended up in the consequence that person came on a subsequent flight, which would be me. So in order to facilitate, because they knew based on the information that I had provided that I was late for whatever event it was I was supposed to be participating in, they decided, listen, they're not going to wait for me to stand there maybe for another hour in the line or whatever.
Right.
So they decided, listen, we'll come get this guy out the line because he's already been delayed. His flight, he missed one flight already. So let's do this. They came out. They said, they asked my name. I said, here I am. I presented myself. They said, come with us. They took me straight to the front of the line, took my passport, got it stamped, and said, have a nice day. Now, one of the questions I would ask based on, you remember the initial story came out from Enrico Wolford. My thing is, who was behind the minister with the camera? And it didn't
That
look a
is what I
little like
wanted to know also.
it didn't look like somebody knew the minister's itinerary. They were also on the plane, and like they had an inkling that, listen, some officers gonna come up to the minister here, so I can have my phone on cock, ready for this scenario to play.
Ready to go.
Think about it. Because you know when you're traveling at the airport, you don't readily whip out your phone in certain environments, bro. When you just come off a plane, you don't readily whip out your phone. You whip your phone out when the plane
So
lands.
no, hold
to see
on,
if
hold
you get
on.
messages.
Naturally, Malachi, correct. So naturally, as soon as you come off the plane, you whip out your phone to tell your family, I land.
I've landed.
Yes, right?
Good.
Not to video the person in front of you or behind
No, well,
you. Even if
that's
you're
what I'm
taking
saying.
a selfie coming out. That is it.
That's what I'm saying. More people are your natural thing says call people and let them know I on the ground. I collect my luggage and I coming out there.
No, but it could be natural that
Correct.
while coming out, you recognize this is a minister.
You notice the
and
minister.
then you realize that agents pull up.
You just notice the minister that popular like that.
No.
Coincidence
the minister,
don't just happen, sir,
the
brother.
minister
This is
is right
this is the
there
problem we
walking
have
out
in
with you.
Guyana. No. I have came off the plane with police officials and other government officials many a times. We have worked with people, the Suriname president and so forth.
Correct.
We know how these things happen.
These protocols work, bro.
We in coming off and readily, oh, minister, let me grab a video from the back. Why not just go and ask for autograph if you fancy the minister so much?
Yeah, so much.
Ask how you could get a job, get into the business of gold mining or whatever else in natural resources. Why just pull out your phone and video? So this is the problem that I have being a bodyguard. Our government officials tend to like to be very comfortable and be with the people and on the ground. If you're a minister, remember I said I count myself as a very important person. This is from at a very young age. So since in high school, if anybody you go and verify what I'm telling you, Google it even. Since high school, I had bodyguards. And I'm not a minister. I'm not the president. I'm not nobody else as very important with diplomatic passes and issues. So if I had bodyguards since high school to today, why the hell is the minister walking around without protection when you are one of the most important people in the country?
That's a fact.
So this is our problem. We take things for granted.
Yeah, listen, you know what is the thing? And I mean, at some points you can't knock at the PPP for their behavior. because really and truly, the whole image of the PPP is the grassroots. All right, so they tend to avoid the extravagant security measures and that kind of stuff, because
Nah.
when we really saw
Nonsense.
a lot of security, hold on, when I saw a lot of security was in the last administration. All right, when I tell you real security, all right. Now these ministers, and you can see this, you see the infrastructural minister come out to his forerunner, and he telling the interior there's no security team moving with him. It's just a couple of officials from the ministry,
Nonsense.
maybe one police officer, and he's going to visit hinterland areas. He will go to, for example, when he had the checking out the area where they're putting down the bridge, the structure for the solid bridge. He was in that area. I didn't see armed security or much security presence around the ministers. So it is a thing with our politicians, even during the time of even previous presidents of Guyana. There wasn't really this overemphasis on securing
On your
pres-
safety.
Yeah, no, there wasn't. There was not, bro. There was not. I'm telling you this. And as somebody in security,
Even though
this.
back in the days we had people running up to the president's residence
Yeah.
with big riots and these sort of things, where people was gunned down apparently.
Yeah.
Even up to a couple years ago, where a man
A matter of
showed up to President Ali's residence and
Right, and
demanded
shot
that
one
he come
and-
out. We don't think that we need to protect ourselves.
Right. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying, our culture over time has not been one of that, what we're talking about that security, that level of security. We haven't
We
done
can't be
that
so
yet.
grassroots, brother. At this point, we is the grass itself. We can't be so grassroots.
Well,
It don't make sense. It's right, man. At least for me, and I in a these man level, I don't go nowhere when I'm in Guyana. I have my bodyguard. When I'm in the US, when I travel anywhere, I have security. I don't need it 9 out of 10 times, but guess what? As they say, I'd rather be caught with it than without.
you mean you ain't
Yes,
getting
man.
caught? You ain't getting
Because imagine
catch
something
lacking.
happen. Exactly.
You ain't getting caught lacking.
Catch me with me
Simple.
security like they throw you on your head. Then you throw me on me head. Me ain't getting for them. Yes, right, man. Imagine the infrastructure minister whereby people arguing for house lots in today's time. You walk around without bodyguard. You see, if I want a house lot so bad, then it's me, you at it. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We need
Back
to
in the
start
day.
thinking ahead.
Yeah.
The possibilities of something happening. And something is always going to happen. Not because it ain't happened yet or it didn't happen then. It's not going to happen. Wait till a man need house lots as bad.
Well,
Wait till
well,
them Spanish people who's fluctuating through the country at the US embassy. Wait when them persons get denied, knowing very well that they're coming from a broken country and them ain't got nothing else to go back to. Is that what we're waiting on?
You know, when they
Then
say
we gonna
some-
run and say, "Oh,
you know,
it shouldn't happen."
sometimes they say over accessibility becomes a norm, and then you become like a regular
Man.
or normal citizen. Because
If we tell the
you-
artists this every single day, brother, and the man is
familiarity,
if
artist,
you put yourself
familiarity
in a
breeds contempt.
position, yeah, if you put yourself in a position where people just feel like they can touch you and talk to you straight on, it creates a different level of that bar that's supposed to be there. You
But again, guys, don't let me forget this point. Let me tell you guys this. If we do that, what the PPP will view that as, and then what the opposition can use that as a weapon to say, is look at the aloofness of the government. They think they are royalty, so they cannot allow the ordinary
they are
man
royalty, brother.
to get
Them is
close to
people in
them.
power running an entire country. There are
Well,
people in power running an entire country,
no,
brother.
you and I understand this from the security standpoint. However, we're talking about the image of a political party. That's a different thing. Now, their whole political image is again grassroots. Grassroots don't have excessive security
Mm.
around them, and that's it. That is basically the entire ideology. You got to understand ideology versus
Wasn't the queen that
actuality.
brought the grass, them fancy grass that we got?
You know, the turf grass.
Isn't it the queen that brought them fancy grass we working on? When she handpicked and said she want this here and that there. And we are so grassroots that we forgot who you actually are.
No, well, we know who we are once we understand who we are. But what I'm talking about here, Martin, is from the political perspective, and that only. All right, their political ideology is
Mhm.
one of we meet the working class, the grassroots man, the cane cutter, the weeder man.
It used to be
That's
that.
that.
Bro. No,
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 no.
no, no,
That's the days of Jagan.
no, no.
That's
That's
not
it.
the days
No,
today.
no, no,
That's
no.
not
This is what I'm
today.
saying. No, but this is what I'm
Today,
saying.
it is
The
the
idea.
PPP is very much inclined with the business class of people. They are not down to the grassroots like Jagan used to be. Jagan was for the grassroots.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying,
These days is
we're
a
talking about
different scenario.
we're talking
Different
about the
part.
overall. We're talking about the overall ideology.
That's only Babu
What
John
they
did.
project.
That's
What
only
they
Babu
project.
John did. That's
All
not
right.
on a regular day. The regular day is all business associates because that's who they incline to. But
Well,
in the days of
Chetty.
Luncheon, Jagan, and all these guys, it
Mhm,
was the grassroots, which was coming from the estates, the
mhm.
farmers, the rice farm, everything like that.
No, but
No,
hold on. But right now, what in your estimation, do you think that in what you're saying, they're more aligned with the business class? All right. The business class can't vote the PPP into power. It has to be that same grassroots class, class of those cane cutters in Berbice who working at the
so
Skeldon and them
who
thing. It's the
are
same thing.
who are the business people or the real business people of Guyana?
Mhm.
And because of that, there are in certain communities which the communities realize that okay, this is where we are actually clumped into these people that is supportive to the government. So it becomes like okay, this is where we gotta be. We can't be off. We can be in a very awkward kind of manner, trying to say we going against this man that's a part of the community that normally gives us jobs, gives us all these resources in the area, etc., etc. So it becomes that kind of incline. But dealing with the grassroots, you don't do it with the grassroots like it used to be before. It is up to the
Well,
next level.
I agree with you, but there are certain things that I keep abreast with. For example, there was an issue at one point in time where the rice farmers, and this is stuff that you really have to kind of like go in depth and understand what's happening on the ground for real. Now, at one point in time, the rice farmers and the millers had a big issue in Guyana, right? Because the price that the millers were buying the raw material from, in other words, the paddy, before they do the polish and clean for sale, they wanted to keep that low. All right. While they were able to capitalize on the prices internationally on the export market. All right. But they weren't allowing that level of the price to trickle down to the farmers. Right.
But then let me give
And
you an example of that before you go. Right, one example.
mhm,
They centralize. Look what they did.
mhm,
Instead of the government was buying the party, you know what the government did? They created a businessman, one businessman on the one side of quarantine. Then they had a businessman from Suriname in Blackbush that had
mhm.
another thing. The West Coast of Barbados had another company. So everybody has to take their party to these. This was the monopoly in the sense of who buying the cheapest party, the more expensive than the more. Who giving more for the party? Man used to come from over the West Coast to travel to go up by trucks just to get the money's worth for the party. If the next man switch and raise his price, that's how it goes. So it was that create where with now if the government was saying, okay, we can control this thing and give y'all a good rate. We can tell these men this is the only price you could say that you giving the minimum. So you trying to tell me that in that sense they catering for the grassroots? No, they're not. And this is the man them that hustling and tiling and then bring it to you for you give them next to nothing whenever.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I don't have, and I don't want to talk out the term. I don't have because I know there's a bit of information more on that rice situation that I need to get involved in. I'm going to call this guy from at one point in time he used to run the rice board. That was Don Kumar Siraj.
The rice board and all them thing the gun.
But I'm gonna try to reach out to people like that because you see, in understanding the regime of how the rice situation worked, because I know at one point in time Guyana was involved in exporting rice at a very high level to the Caribbean. Yep. All right, we were exporting rice to Venezuela as well because we had the Petro-Caribbean arrangement where we were exporting rice. So you see. What I find happens in Guyana, Sherwin, and we got to watch it as especially people who are disseminating information. One of the things that I know personally happens, right, and we see this a lot, the government will facilitate a lot of these, let's say, companies or agencies or agricultural areas to get their stuff up and running based on relieving the duty from a lot of the stuff that they have, the raw materials that they need, or even machinery that they need. But what happens is that they want to have all these concessions, but at the same time, they don't want to sell at a competitive price that, let's say, if the government gets involved, they can say, listen, we can make a margin off of our investment that we've done, which would be a public-private investment. We get some money from that. And it moves like that. But because we don't have that kind of regime, these guys just think about themselves. It's like all the farmers, the rice farmers, they grow paddy. All right? Now, they would not have been able to be manipulated by the millers if they themselves were all together.
Correct.
All right? So you see, there's several dynamics in this game. And this is why I said I want to go further into it, but of course I want to get people who actually know more than I do in that particular sector. And I'm gonna
give you an example also, right? Because I've been around and I've been looking and listening.
All right.
The period of time when sugar was actually when they was closing down them estates. You know what they did? They eventually, well, this is how I look at the craft, right? Because you could look at as a youth man, you know what you know that's be happening. Things like molasses, also things like sugar cane and all of that used to be transported in trucks that was owned by the estates, right? After Skellen Estate stopped grinding, they turn and at least tell them, man, okay, as businessmen, man was into sawmill work and into sand and bricks or whatever. They trickle it to them. Listen, we got some money to make. Y'all go and plant cane. And we gonna buy back the cane from you. Right? Check all the cane, and then you can transport it to Albion, which was one central point for all the boy, and it was a rain of that's what the business is. So it's like you turn everything against the people, push them in a corner where they should have been in a position to
benefit.
say, okay, we are putting this industrial system in place so that the people can get to go to work.
So
Mhm.
here the problem with that is, right? The government shouldn't have to put anything in place but the laws and the regulations.
Bro.
We as Guyanese
They're
don't
not
really
the
like to
difference.
compete, Maji. In
Yeah,
any
I
business
was just
area, we don't like to compete.
I was gonna mention that thing. Guyanese got to get more into this space of we are competing with the rest of the world. Stop believing that by some miracle or by some I don't know what it is that we are ahead of everybody without actually competing with them.
Not even with the rest of the world, because we can't even compete with ourselves.
Exactly.
Just like we've said many times, every corner in Guyana have a knock-up shop. Every single corner that you pass have this. Almost every house, at least 90% of the house in Guyana, have a business in the yard
No,
or
downstairs.
directly under the house.
Of course.
So we don't want to compete. We just want, oh, he doing that, let me do the too. She doing that, let me do the too. Instead of putting things in place, which is the government's job to say, well, let's create a rice board. Let's facilitate the rice industry or the sugar industry or whatever other industry. We can come up with the laws because that is our job. So also these people don't understand what is their duties.
Well,
So you see one man doing this, another man doing that.
We know for a fact there is a rice board. All right. What I think has happened over time is our original rice, which we had in Guyana, because when I came to Guyana in 1992, I going to Stabrook and Border, I never saw white rice. You know what I used to see? I used to
Brown
see
rice.
brown
Brown
rice.
rice.
Boiled rice, yeah.
Right? I used to see brown rice. Later on, through the new I think it's the new GGMC, they introduced the GMO rice. Then I noticed we had now white rice on the market, and we had that kind of, as Sherwin mentioned earlier, the parboiled rice.
Mm.
Because everybody in Guyana knows this, and I'm going to say this now. I know about cooking my rice today, and I don't have to refrigerate my brown rice. All right, I can leave that right there in the pot on the stove. I don't have to heat it up. I could get up the following day, heat it up, and that is good to go. Right? If you do that with the GMO rice right now, from the time you boil the rice and you're done, 4 to 8 hours after that, it becomes a kind of
Sap.
like a kind of porridgey, sappy thing. You're wondering, look, what happened to the grains that I was seeing when it cooked? Because it
How
started
about-
to spoil.
How about after a while, when they plant the cane this week, next week you see the arrow in the air, and it already done ripe.
No. Here how you know the difference with cane, my bro. And I don't know if you
No,
realize
because
it, but
back in the
you
day,
probably,
when
you
cane-
Barbadians don't know the difference.
We had the best grain, one of the best grains
Here
Oh,
I know
sugar.
I know the difference. I know the
in
difference.
the world,
When you look at the cane, right? If the
And,
outside is a
Bro, you used to see this
darky
little
kind of
crystals of gold.
yeah.
I remember going to a school tour, and when they hold a sugar like this and chewing it, everybody was just mesmerized. It's like, look at what this thing is looking like. And they showed us this is the product that comes out to Guyana market, and this is the product that goes out to the foreign market. And bro, the one that goes to the foreign market, you ain't want to see that sugar and the cleanliness and how beautiful it looks.
Unfortunately, Sherwin, in July of 2024, as of a couple of days ago, I went to the supermarket to buy sugar. There's no sugar on the stand at all. Till I had the asking the man, probably sugar. The man said, looking for the same thing. Then a lady bumped into me and said, what the sugar? I said, I'll be looking for the same thing. So we asked the Chinese, I got any sugar? Lady said, yes, go down to the back of the aisle 7. We gone down to the aisle. They have, back in the days we used to bag off, we put sugar. They have it in a white plastic bag.
Mhm.
and it's very black. So we ain't got no nice things these days, right? As our good friends say, IP controls everything as we know.
We
Because
know.
if you could implement something, you have control over it. Yes, right, man. This is where we get things mixed up. The government is not implementing the IP laws, but they are functioning like we have IP.
IP. On that very topic, right? And not moving away from the sugar, right? Watch what we could have done as a country that would have been totally unique, right? Now, the process of how we do cane in Guyana is one that nobody else in the world does. Nobody else in doing cane manually, with, like in slavery time, with banners walking through cane field with cutlass, cutting cane, bro. Nobody does that. Guyana has a unique process of doing this thing. Not only that, the factories are so old that the very style of producing the molasses then to the grains and granules is different. All right. Now, what we should have done now is use that as a big marketing tool, right? Instead of putting our sugar in a plastic bag and slap on a stupid label on that plastic bag, we could have had, you remember back in the days, everybody in Guyana know the brown crocus bag,
Mhm.
right? Everybody know back in the day, the brown crocus bag, they used to got sugar and coffee and stuff in the brown crocus bag from back in the day. So what you do, you use that marketing thing. All right. We got barrels for the rum and we got crocus bag for the sugar. All right. Now, the other part that you're looking for certification worldwide is the level that we were talking about this on our radio program, Martin, was the organic stamp
Exactly.
internationally. All right.
Exactly.
So
Costs extra. Just so
I
y'all know.
no, it costs extra because you remember Guyana can't afford to supply because we can't supply sugar like Indonesia and those countries. You know. They're all it's all mechanical. We can't handle that. We got them kind of tonnage. They do that by the tons. We got a couple tons, but our tons is what we could call and what is organic, which is a different kind of thing. So when you come to Guyana, for example, this is how you start the marketing. I think all the hotel chains that now setting up Best Western, Marriott, all these people. Once you in our country, and this is what should have been part of the local content bill too. Once you're in our country, that means the products that you're sourcing, all right, to be used in that hotel, which also is part of showcasing our culture and originality and all of that. Hey, you gotta source our products. Now, our key that you can go at the table now, you pull up at the Marriott to go have breakfast. You see a little miniature crocus bag. You wondering, wait, this is the way the sugar is? Instead of having it in a paper, you know, the paper that they tear and you
Yeah,
throw
the
out your
same-
sugar? All right.
brown bag.
What if we marketed it in a little crocus bag? So you have your thing, your coffee saucer, your little crocus bag next there, and it says, let's say Guy Suko, and it got a nice little
Demerara
branding and
Gold.
stuff on it. Or
Demerara
Demerara Gold.
Gold.
Well, we want to say Demerara Gold, you know, because we know that got enough controversy at IP. There's a problem, but you know that got problem.
Demerara
listen,
Gold
you know what, the question that I always ask myself, right?
Yeah.
With all these different things, okay, now they got a shortage of sugar. Like recently, somebody said shortage of sugar, England or whatever. Okay,
Mm.
but couldn't a country try to feed itself?
We
Keep
are
one
trying to
estate-
feed ourselves.
No,
That's the
no.
problem. We trying.
At least keep one estate so that it can generate enough for the nation while you can attract like Malachi is saying, while you can attract through the way of how you market what you're doing in the nation towards attracting people to say, what? That man got a sugar there, bro. A lot of foreigners coming in, a lot of people coming in, going into all the hotels and all these different things. Like, for example,
Having a
you go to
natural
Jamaica,
experience.
you don't see the foreign rum on the shelves.
It's
Mm.
Berry and
See what's made
nephew.
in Jamaica.
Berry and
Everything
nephew.
that's happening that they produce, they introduce to
Is
you in
there.
hotels.
Campari, Ray and nephew. Everything
Everything.
is making.
You know what I mean?
Problem
So,
is, again, if the officials don't see themselves important to even protect themselves, how them gonna protect the business of the country? You understand me?
You know, I don't even see Guyanese like really emphasize. Like for example, I've seen guys make music videos in Guyana, and maybe it's a fault of theirs, or maybe it's a fault of the companies, but we don't see that level of endorsement. And when we say endorsement, we're talking about product placement. El Dorado is a world-renowned rum.
Hmm.
All right, we're talking about internationally standard rum.
big.
And I see
And-
guys doing music video and we ain't including we own rum and Campari and Monkey
Lack of
and these.
creativity, lack of
They got
vision. It
nothing.
goes from
They
tell
got-
top to
anybody,
bottom.
They got
Our
nothing
rum-
now we rum.
Our rum in the regular liquor store over here is one of the top shelves. Right?
And out again is even more top of shelf.
I'm telling you, out of Guyana, in New York, when
Yeah,
you go
top
in,
shelf.
when you go in, you see the rum be sitting there, and people scared to ask what's the price.
Yep. Especially
I
for
would
about
normally go
a
in.
25-year-old. About a
I would normally
25-year-old.
go in. I will ask for the 25 if they don't get it, because most of them they don't get the 25 because if they stack it, they ain't get their sale.
Yeah. They get
Okay.
this sale. Nobody buy the
Because
expensive.
it's 100 or something already. So they
Yep.
want people like, nah, I mean, by because everybody going for the regular thing that everybody putting up in the ear. That's
I had
only
to
starting
see.
about a 60, a 60
Ah,
or 50 something dollar.
Well, this is the funny thing, right? People will go to events as Sport Point Henny and not
Yeah,
realizing,
but what
bro,
I'm saying-
you got
but when
product
you-
from your country that is like,
but when I'm-
if you floss that,
What you drink, be normal, be honest. You drink
Mm.
a shot of Henny and you drink a shot of El Dorado. Bro,
smooth.
right away you know the difference.
You know the
Like
difference.
one man turned to me and said, "Boy, we rum too sweet. We want
Yeah.
to try it too sweet." I said, "Boy,
Really?
it's a rant to you, bro.
Lack of understanding.
Yeah, no.
How you gonna
Is it
sell
like-
me rum too sweet, but tomorrow morning I could get up and roll out smoothly, and tomorrow you get up and say, boy, I gotta drink
Yeah,
some
blowing up, boy.
kick off this thing here, boy."
Yeah, blowing up.
You know what I
This-
mean?
You see here what happened? You see, it's the knowledge of rum comes with an acquired taste, right? Plus, it's got to be a real connoisseur for understand rum. Man, it's got to be properly distilled. They got enough different type of rum, But I can tell anybody that El Dorado, world class. You know what I mean?
If you look at the tasters and when they're tasting the rum or liquor,
yeah,
they will always tell you they look for that little sting, that little zing. But when the zing could smooth off, the way
Yes.
that they want it to smooth off, that's
good.
what they judge it by. If
Yeah.
you stinging and you keep stinging, bro, you
Nah,
ain't good
yeah.
rum.
You're a little too
You
hot on
something-
the alcohol
something
level.
wrong.
You're too hot
You
on
know,
the alcohol
correct.
side.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
got to get that zing and then that smoothness coming after it.
But not to stray too far from the topic. But those are things that we should be focusing on.
Yep.
The industry here in Guyana has got so much potential because it's not a huge one, it's a small one. And because of that, it not only look, I'm just giving you a small aspect of the ideas that can derive from the sugar industry. That can also be a major tourist attraction. Because let me tell you this, like I said before, Guyana is unique. The whole pontoon issue, the whole cutting cane manually and entering it
That was
into
a
the
big
system. Literally, you can have people tour the making of cane in Guyana while it's being made for real.
Lack of
especially the
vision.
areas where the tractors couldn't go and you would have to see the ox. Them
Everything you
ox
see,
that pull those punts in those areas because of the
this was
area
yeah.
that is, yeah, that's all things that used to be depicted in paintings and all of that. Big
No,
time
no, let me
as
show
a
you
part
this.
of Guyana culture.
Let me show you this. One of the most foremost gun makers in the world, Smith and Wesson, right? Got a really nice ad. All right. Guess how this ad is? This ad is, back in the day when they were, according to them, conquering the West,
Mm.
right? They used to go out with these wagons, the wagon trail and all of that. So the whole concept of this thing is that you see the wagon trail on a prairie coming around and they all circle together, right? And they all come together and form a circle, right? And then you see, you just see the rifle heads peeping out and you see them loading up. Everybody loading up, right? Then you hear, like, in the distance, you hear, like, if Red Indians coming in for real. But you ain't seeing no Red Indians because obviously they can't portray murdering of indigenous people now on TV, right? So the whole idea is the noise, and then they go for another close up on the weapons they're pointing out, right? Then you see some rungs go off, and it's enough smoke, and then that's the end of the idea. Though the final part of it is about protecting yourself, right? That's the end of that. Now, what I'm trying to bring out here is the concept of they knew they're using the idea of how we gain the West, how we take this territory here, to show you that if you want efficient protection that we use from since back then to now, Smith & Wesson is the gun to have because of its reliability from how much 100 years back to now. All right. So we should be marketing our product as, hey, for hundreds of years, Guyana has mastered the art of growing fine gold through cane. It's all about the tactic. You're growing gold through cane because when we finish with the cane, it's gold crystals we have at the end product.
The culture of Guyanese mostly because of the political sphere, and I keep talking about it over and over.
Yeah.
The culture of Guyanese is never in the sense of protecting their history or being proud of the little things that made the difference in the country.
That made us unique as Guyanese.
Right.
That's the thing.
Even icons, even people that was very much historians in the country, they are barely recognized by the country of itself.
Of origin. We haven't recognized
because this man is was a PNC activist. And this man was a PPP activist.
A WPA man, no recognition.
They're responsible to depict their people. We're responsible to depict we people. And that kind of that drift is just always
that is why we cannot put people in power.
Nobody respects the people that should be respected that came along the way of history.
And made a big difference.
This is how this country come to where it is.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Hence why we can't put people in power who don't understand the assignment. Whether it be the president electing or any officials leading down, especially the ministers. And just a side note, since we did give out a lot of ideas, right?
Yeah, don't touch it.
No. Hold on. It's actually the opposite. We would like for you guys to wholesale lift up the sugar idea.
Yeah, they better lift it up.
Send a consultancy check.
Yeah.
Within our names.
Yeah. Like I said, a consultancy check. Because we know. Listen, bro. We got so much ideas they can pelt out. And they don't. The thing about it, they are not costing anything extra than what is already there. It's just about how you implement a strategy. All right.
But I don't think they're lacking of ideas, I think
lack idea by
what happens. No. The ideas are there. There are a lot of suggestions that's being fed. That man is stupid, But what I'm trying to say, you have leaders that is just trying to figure how I can do what I have to do so that I want you get this job because with you, we could deal with this thing on this level.
Mm.
Yeah, you, yeah, me, like we normally would
So
say.
to fill the pocket.
So now the whole thing is going through that course of line is like, okay, we still at the same time, whatever we're doing, we want to make sure that it looks good to the people that we know that we can put in a gear of the people that is like, yo, I'm building a building and put it up there. I'm making a village look good. It's just an elephant that's going up there. Yeah, we can bring this person and bring that person. This is gonna happen. You're gonna benefit from this and that. But how are you benefiting? You still gotta find a way to go and pay. You still gotta find a way to get in a line to go for what you gotta go for. But is it giving any sense of production in the area? Is it giving anybody in the area a job that could sustain them for why really it's in the area? No, it is something that they could say, we provide you with this and this
Well,
and XYZ.
as we know, our people like to be praised and bribed for some reason, right? But before we get into everything else, we can jump to a little ads. You know, we got little
Yeah.
things to promote
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
come back to you guys.
Yeah, let's get some magic
Yeah.
come back, man.
Yeah, man.
Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run, come give me the roots and culture. Chase them vulture. Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run, come give me the roots and culture. Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run, come give me the roots and culture. Chase them vulture. Ooh, go so with your badness. We know you not slackness. This a Rasta business. Ooh, run, come give me the roots and culture. Bun vampire entire.
It's special. Give me. Alright. I love to feel your body when it's close to mine. When you and I become as one, it sends a thrill to me when we move to the melody. Come on and give it to me, baby. When you walk your way, you raise my passion.
Tell you what I want. When the Rasta man them come together like the torch and the wicked catch a fire. Tell you what I want. When they get to you, them try fi better and the system try fi turn them in a shatter. Tell you what I want. One Babylon highly Selassie rain down lightning and thunder. Tell you what I want. Tell you what I want. Yeah.
Stars among stars. We. Lights, camera, someone.
Carnival is a movie with women in the festival. Yes! Carnival is a movie with women in the bacchanal. Carnival is a movie with women with the pretty girl. Carnival is a movie, this one is international.
Alrighty then. So we are back. So for this
Yeah.
aspect, right?
Yeah.
Of course, we dealt with the minister and the aspect of misinformation or miscommunication, right? Keeping in line with the heading, where media houses like to twist them story just to make it sound sweet, right? Of course, we know we have corruption all the time, even in the media houses. And we've been saying multiple times that the NCN, DPI, and any other legitimate government websites should be the source of information. Then media houses, right? Unless you have direct links, which you really can't trust them, because there's the direct links that we have today, whereby any media man or media woman could come out, link with the guy in the police force, link with the natural resources department, link with anybody else, and grab information. Of course, once you understand English, we know that information, if it comes from you to me to he to she, by the time it gets wrong to the
It's
4 or
something
5
different.
people,
It's something different.
it is different, right?
Yeah, but in a sense, you got to make sure that what the officials have to do is make sure that when these guys that seemingly popular comes around as a media house, you know that this is not where you want a source of news to go through. You make sure that you only provide the right sources or the right news, the agencies with the details of what you want to share with them. But you see what happened, everybody wants to always have a quick cover up after these
Yeah.
questions. I would stand on camera straight and plain. I said, listen, you, and I would say it on a blog or a media house that's on live. I said, listen, when you put yourself together in a proper way and structure to make sure that whatever source of news or details is coming from wherever the news is supposed to be,
That you
then
fact check that.
we
Then
will actually deal with or give you all that you need in order in that direction. But everybody just be like, oh, okay, as soon as mosquito come up, a mosquito is a man and everybody's glad to get the news on because he popular. No, find a way to kill mosquito because mosquitoes sending out wrong signals. And it coming right sometimes, but sometimes it coming with the source of interest on one side. And you're
I'll
not
tell you
coming
what.
down the middle and being neutral. No, mosquito, we can find a way, but dump you. You gotta get news from the bigger sources. Wherever you come in, it must trickle from who you hearing from the bigger sources. That's
Which
all you gotta
should
do.
be factual at the end of the day, right? You see, we have adopted the independent route of journalism, right? But we forget and we don't have the official route, right? Whereby NCN supposed to be disseminating at least 95% of the information coming out from any government agency, right? They also supposed to have within the DPI, they're supposed to have sub offices or sub communication department, whereby in the Guyana police force, in the office of the president, and any other ministry, they're supposed to have their own communications department. But we don't have this. Instead, we have the vice president coming on a press conference every Thursday, the president getting up out of bed when a disaster happened, coming directly and speak, which in that point he is needed. The head of the GDF coming out at any given time in front of the camera. So compared to the regular bloggers that we have or influencers, it coming like these officials wants to be an influencer instead of a high-ranking government official.
No, because every office, especially these high-ranking offices, should have a press room or an area, and everybody that's coming into that room, you can't just come in because you hear, oh, you that always do thing. You gotta come with an official, which company you working for. If the company is not recognized by the people that we want to give this source to, you can't come in. And that's how you gotta work. You gotta put that structure
fellas,
in place.
I get what you're saying, Sharon, but I'll tell you one of the things that we know for a fact is like a huge error in the system. Now, if we just look at what's been happening recently with the Guyana Police Force.
Mhm.
Now, first things first, The way to handle that is to allow your official PR to handle that. And I think that they have a PR section, which I think is headed by Stan Gavaya, right? Um, Another thing to this that I don't think that we fully grasp as yet is, yes, you can be the head of, let's say, a civil body. You can be a head of, for example, you can be the police commissioner. However, in press conferences, if you notice, even in the US and further afield, you have a PR who is representing, who will then take
Correct.
questions. For example, Joe Biden is the president of the US, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But of course, during the press conferences, that young black girl is the person who's representing the White House. And then all questions that are for the president are referred to her because she is the person who is better able to handle the press and to answer the questions.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always have to be like in our case. We somehow believe that once you're the boss,
The
that means
directing.
right, you got the end it all and say it all. That means if I don't come up front and I don't show my face and say, well, yeah, I'm the boss and behave a certain way, then I'm not gonna garner that kind of respect. But I think they need to understand that. Listen, especially now in 2024. All right. We are a growing economy, we're an emerging economy. We want to create more job creations for our people. We have to understand that these are all facets of our development that need to come in. You don't
Mm-hmm.
need to. Every ministry should have a press representative, somebody who deals directly with the press, so that the press can say, well, we didn't get the information, so this is why we had to take it from Tom Jones, and when we take it from Tom Jones, it's wrong.
There's another thing too. Another thing that is very much lacking in Guyana is quick and speedy reports. Now, if something kind of fishy happened, for some reason, everybody else finding ways to get the information out to people, and it becomes third and fourth and fifth and, like you said, when it's moving down, eventually it starts getting more and more into story and more into lie, or more into false misinformation or
False,
miscommunication.
false narratives,
Right.
false narratives.
So now, be it if you have, because this is what happens out here, somebody just got shot. Be it if you have the full details or not, the first thing you got to do is come out right away and be like, listen, this is what happened today. This is what we learned. We are still in whatever. For the
The
details,
process
we cannot give you more details up to now. So
until we can verify.
until exact, and it's simple like that. You clear the whole air. People say,
No, but,
"Yo,
but check
at
this
least
out.
they're on it."
But check this
So
out,
you
Shirley.
waiting like,
When
no, man.
people say, of
Don't
course,
even say nothing about the story. There's another man calling you from somewhere.
but
Hey,
listen,
don't even
when,
talk
some-
about that.
when somebody says at least they on it, I have seen stories out there, right? And Martin and I just look at them every time and we say, you see, this is an ongoing thing that's ongoing. So where's the follow on? Now, one of the things that the distinction, we don't see Guyanese journalists, very few. I mean, I think one or two, Michael Young, Gordon Mosley, maybe one other person, Mark, does a bit of what we call follow up on a news story. For example, a news story comes out on Monday, all right? And they will provide a follow up to that story Wednesday or Thursday. And if possible, if that story is an ongoing one, you will see something in the following week about that particular story. That is what I like to say is a bit of investigative journalism, because you have to follow that story and bring that information to the audience. All right. But we don't find in certain
But
cases
that's
real
journalism.
Right. We don't
But
find, for
we're
example, if
talking
you're
about
talking
the
about
agency.
no, but hold on.
That's
If they're talking about corruption, why don't they do investigative reporting and expose that corruption? In other words, get records pictures, photographs, recorded audio, that kind of thing. That's how you do real investigation as a journalist.
We also need to remember that a lot of these people is not qualified to call themselves journalists. Them is a man and a woman with a camera and a microphone. Right? This is the difference and the issue that we're facing with, because everybody and their mother, just like the shops, everybody and their mother have a camera. And we know we get extra popular if we could live stream like Critic does.
Mm-hmm.
So the faster you're able to bring a story, whether it's verified or not, you get the most clicks, you get the most likes. Everybody is now reposting from your pages.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we ain't got nobody taking a day or two and look at the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, right, man. We ain't got that. As how it's supposed to be.
I keep saying the same thing. You guys are talking about journalism, which I respect.
Yeah.
Has to have something from the source instead of just coming and say. But the agencies that's directly connected to, let's say the airport, Charlie Jagan International Airport, as simple as, like we heard the other day from a national, as simple as coming out to make an announcement to say, yo, because of XYZ, this is where we at, and we cannot, whatever. They said they were standing there for hours. Nobody no representative from the airport. No announcements was made. Nothing.
Because they don't have these things,
you know what all was? Them relying on Google to realize what's going on, and everything is canceled until further notice.
We want to be, as Malachi said, the big boss, the head honcho coming out, because we are in position. We feel like we got to do everything. And I heard the vice president would have pretty much said something, if not exact similar, right? Yeah, I could go and watch back the interview or the conference that he had last week sometime, right? Whereby he was asked a question about sanctions and Mohammed's and these side of things, and he flipped it, coming back to, oh, look at this, and we did this and we did that, right? Leading into, well, we wanted to make sure, because we would have been lacking in reaching the people, this is why we now come forward and say, well, anybody could touch the ministers or the government officials. But you're not supposed to be able to touch the head honcho at any given time.
Exactly.
So, for instance, like the issue which came out a couple days ago, about 5-7 days ago, somewhere around there, with one of the top police officials, right? They now got caught up in what I believe is a scandal, right? And everybody would have seen the information where Officer Brutus was accused of depositing $16.5 million into his credit union account. Now, I have some issues with that in particular.
Wait, hold on. Just before you continue, it's how we really care anybody, man. It's a bad. Me man working. No, I just ask him up, friend. Right? I may even sound like a comic, but I just ask him up, friend. It's how we carry this morning. Hold on.
Pick up.
Let me be logical, right? We know how GT money is.
When I pick up,
all right. We talking 16 point something odd $1 million, right? Now $100,000, what is about this now? Guys, beer 5,000, right?
Correct. $1 million is about double
$1 million is right. We talking about a nice little block. So how we really pull up? We talking about $1 million is a little block. You're talking about one. You're talking 16 point odd million, right? Even if all in 5,000, how did he carry this up into the credit union in a bag?
So these are where we have the issues, right? At least where I have the issue, right? So I want to start off by first, now if I'm banking with you, right? Why the hell is my information in the public?
You understand? There's a breach of my privacy.
That
How
is the
my
first
info end up
issue,
out there?
right?
First issue.
No, no. The thing is that banks might have policies of questionnaires where
And credit unions don't.
yeah they could have policies of questionnaires of this man bringing all this money. Where you
Uh-huh.
bring it from?
Mhm.
You know, they could ask a question. He got no answers to it. They could call in the police.
No, listen,
To
they
figure
are
out
the
where this,
police. They
huh?
are the police. They are the police. This is
You
my
know,
this is
you could
why
be the police, but when you come in the bank, they always say this. When you
Uh-huh.
walk into the bank right
Mhm.
away, you're an ordinary citizen, come in as a person. Right? That's how it's
but
supposed to be.
in this scenario, this is not the
You
bank.
can't
This
turn
is
up
the
and tell
police.
the bank, tell
This
you
is
the
the
police and
all
look
right.
me after right away.
But this is the police credit union, though, right? This is an internal, um, let's say, banking system for the police. It is not geared for people who are not police officers.
Correct.
All right. So that
I don't know.
banking,
I don't know.
but look at it. Let's look at it now from exposure, somebody's privacy, right? Now, one of the things I'm not condoning, because I know some people might say, you see, they're condoning corruption or they're condoning whatever. I'm not
No,
talking about
we
none of
we
that.
ain't
I'm
reached
talking
the
about
corruption
principle.
level yet.
I'm talking about principle here. Now, if I'm involved in a credit union, there is no way my information should be out there to nobody, regardless of whether I took $5 million to that credit union or $8 million. Whatever transaction was going on there was between myself and that union should have said to me at that time, sir, we have an issue. You would have to declare where this money came from. That's not public information, brother. Even
So
when you go to any bank, that's not public information. You can't tell another person, oh, that person said they got their money from here. This is why they're bringing it to Scotiabank. Huh?
mhm.
That's not legal, bro.
So as you could see Sherwin on the screen on the side, right? Now, as Malachi said, you kind of have to declare, right? I believe even in the US, the people is asking where the money come from. If you're taking
Yeah.
out a certain amount, they're asking what you're doing with it and all these things,
Bro,
right?
in the US, if you come in there with a watch that them man feel is too expensive, they ask you if you buy it.
No, where you buy it. And
How
if
much you buy it for? And if
if
it's
you-
too expensive, they want to see the receipt. If you
If
don't
you're
have
a
a good receipt, it's gone.
if you're the residents of the US, you gotta pay tax and they're coming in back.
Exactly.
With the
So
with the
this
excessive.
right here on screen is the issue.
Uh-huh.
This appears to be a page,
Mhm.
right, out of some document, whether it be a book or documents that would have been submitted, apparently, right?
Mhm.
And it clearly say the source of funds is wedding gift
Mhm.
prior, during, and after reception.
What? 16? My God.
No, hold on. Remember, hey, Amalek means an important person. 16 million is not very hard to
It's
come
not
by.
very hard to come by. I've seen weddings with more than that given in jewelry, vehicles,
Exactly.
property, money, way more than that, bro.
Well, a corporal?
No,
No, I'm talking about
um,
ordinary citizens who got married. I've seen them receive more than that money there.
yeah. So
What?
for a police official of high ranking, right?
Why?
Now that comes with some level of respect within itself.
No. You see, this is where it comes down back again.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that's like shaming a system of a sense of, you know, there's certain things in the should be in the police system, might be a part of the law that we might not be highlighting or people don't highlight. These things of calling like gifts and offers and these kind of things and all of that.
No, but
It's a
Sherwin,
part
what should have happened? What we're
It's a
talking
part
about?
of a part of creating corruption.
No, but
No,
listen,
because
Sherwin.
hold on. No.
One second, Martin.
Uh-huh.
Sherwin, I think every major police officer, superior officer at the top, would have had to gone through declaration of assets, my bro.
Correct.
Well, listen. We was talking this the other day. How the police doesn't get all the money that they get. So
Yeah, this is why we also call for internal affairs unit.
Mm-hmm.
We call for that as well
oh, man.
because
So
police
it is
can't
natural,
investigate.
right? It is natural as a wedding present to receive certain things. Because even if when it's me birthday, I already sent out a little list to me circle and say, these are the things I want. You see it? Me internal circle know, well, I rather the money above anything else. Now, if I'm collecting funds and 16.5 million is about 79, we say 80,000 US dollars. A big official, how much people you think at the wedding? Well over 100. Now, if all we come in and pool bread, how much money you think I walking out of it?
It's kind of impossible. I don't care what nobody says. It's kind
So
of
it's
impossible
kind of impossible
because
based
of
on
the amount of cash money.
Mhm.
And then also a good man that has some kind of knowledge of the repercussions, especially being in such a institution. You know, he could have turned and say, you know what, I'm gonna take this money to a business, money lender or somebody, and let him
But
cash
then
me
again,
a
this
check or
didn't
something.
say
Guys, just to correct the sum is not 74. It's 80,000 US.
Mhm.
60 million. Yeah, 80,000.
80,000 US.
80,000 US.
Who giving you US like the man?
no, so that's the conversion,
That's
Oh,
the
right?
conversion.
That's the conversion. But remember,
got the money, bro.
correct. But here the thing, right? Now, my issue is me being who I is, they have a police station right down the road from me. When I came back from the US, one thing I did when I set up shop, I said, let me start to communicate with the various people in charge, right? Because I want to know at any given time, they could call on me and I could call on them. So what do? You pack a nice basket and you take it to the office. And
That's
don't
the
tell me
part.
what in the basket.
That's a venture that happens in any community, especially a businessman or a concerned citizen
Correct.
that wants to have a good relation with police. It's like
Correct.
a part of community policing is very much a good
Initiative.
part
Yeah.
of initiative of making sure that you know these type of connections is there. So
In the community.
yeah, so that's something that is very good, yeah, for sure. But bro, I was gonna pull up. Hey, when you go and you give, they got some of them small man. You gonna give them man like I used to remember when I used to keep dancing in GT. You give them man an oil blink, the man tell the other crew, hey, no man give it thing, but man pull up and get the thing. Then I man come back later and it rolls on for the whole night. The more you want to go long, is the more. Where with now, the bigger head's telling you, why are you doing that? Talk to me and tell me who's doing that. But you don't want to skin that man up because you know every day these are the guys on the street. You know what I mean?
Well,
When
that's
boss
called
man sleeping, the amount of thing that man could do you before boss man wake up. And this is the problem. You hands in a place where you don't want.
Well, you are somebody who's aiding and abetting corruption then.
No. But what I'm trying to say, when you're young in that level of thing and you desperate to make, you don't want you dance, boss don't want dance ramp with over 500 people and going. You just trying to say, boy, yeah, humble me, let me do.
The thing for me is, where does it become corruption exactly? Because if I am coming to an institution that I should be trusting in, right, depositing a large sum of money, how do they determine that this money was
Fraudulently
corrupt?
Yeah.
No, but like what I'm saying, it is not. Sometimes it is not that they suspect that the person doing something wrong. Like it might just be somebody walk off the street. There ain't nobody. All right, what type of business are you doing? Right? You're not a regular customer that would bring this amount of money. But you pull up off the street and you bring this amount of money, questions can be
It should
in the
raise
air.
red
It's
flag
right away.
naturally.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
that would raise
eventually,
that.
But there should
It-
also be a process to verify these things instead of my information being on social media for the rest of
Yeah.
the world to see. Now
Yeah, yeah,
everybody know me. I got $16.5 million.
So let me get it straight, Sherwin. Let's say his grandma passed away. He sold that property, he kept the cash. He got married, he got further cash. He decided, listen, instead of keeping this cash, let me do this.
but you're gonna carry a stupid thing like wedding gift, buddy. You can't tell me this wedding gift. Mom bringing pouring in money like that on wedding gift.
No, but then
people morally would bring stuff for household stuff and different things. Or
no man. Remember
nobody
things different.
walking no big bag of cash to walk to no wedding. They
No,
gonna come with a
sure,
check
things
and give it
different
to
now,
you,
man.
bro.
No,
Sure,
if you read back the thing, it said
Nonsense.
before. So naturally, if you get married, you don't know you entire family asking you where you are.
I know, I telling you, I'm going to give you a perfect example of that right
So
now.
if you married in,
Mhm.
you spend your money for the wedding, and you still get the 16 stash.
G, the
All
amount
this
to give
wedding
that.
going, man.
Repeat it, sir.
If they're giving you money for you to do your wedding, wedding done, and you still got 16 stash.
Before, after, and during is the
Yeah.
most important part.
Man, you're a lucky cat, boy.
And they are
Because
some-
I know most time when they done, man broke.
All
Because
right, so here.
you spend your
Hold on.
bread for enjoy yourself
But
and
hold
do
on,
what you
my
gotta
bro.
do
All
to
right, but
enhance
there's
whatever.
no, and now I need to pull this out the closet. Plus, if anybody want doubt my things, I have the video, right? Anybody out there want doubt what he's saying right now? I have the video. They could come on the comments or whatever and say, well, Malachi, bring up the video, let me see this, right? But here me telling you this now. I was at a wedding, right? At that time, the CEO for Fly Jamaica, right? I was doing work with them. I was present at that wedding. All right. That couple, I mean, $80,000 in our estimation in Guyana, they can say, "Wow, that's a big
There's
money."
enough.
Get it? There's enough. But let me tell you this: right here in this country, I saw a young Indian couple getting married. Right? I don't really like shout out people's name like that because people might zoom in on people and they, right? But let me tell you this: that young Indian couple, I have the video to prove. All right? They had like 4 uncles that was a running 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, not Guyana dollars, bro. US. A running 10,000. Everybody presenting at 10 grand. People present tillery, right? Gold, colors for his wife. She had so much, her hands and neck look full like Mr. T, bro. Plus, they get a present of an Audi. Plus, a present of a land, title deeds, and them sort of thing, bro. So, the 16 mil ain't got nothing.
Problem is like we never see conversation as we used to say back in the
never
days.
see conversation people.
It's
bro.
because we never had the experience, just like the minister. Them in travel, so them never had the experience to pull into fitness and let me escort you down.
Yeah,
Them in get married yet, so them in had the experience of being flourish or flush with money.
No. And when we say this, Sherwin, married in opulence, all right? Not you don't know certain family. I mean, not knocking at the families that can't afford that. But I'm telling you, right in this very country, where we talk about, people they're bad and people ain't getting what they got to get and people broke. I have seen young couples receive over the value of that money there by far. And this guy is a pretty popular guy in Guyana. He's been around for quite some time. So if he's getting married, his circle of individuals that he know obviously he gonna know some big businessmen.
Correct.
Are those big businessmen gonna come to his wedding and say, "Well, bye, I'm gonna present you a cooker by a microwave"? No, they're not
You're
gonna do
getting
that, bro.
things, my G.
You're getting things. They're gonna come and say, "Well, here what happened by all a $7,000. This $7,000 could help you. You could buy a new car or something for yourself. They put towards a car." And that's put towards a car because we know 7,000 is not a proper trans fee. Where you want to buy a 212?
Well, then why it was said, oh, in a system like that, is either he was wrong to take so much cash into the bank,
But then
or
what do you do with it? Because if a regular man like me come in with me money that I gain or work hard for, what do I do with me money? Keep it under the bed in the pillowcase?
well,
Or do I put it in a legit establishment?
I don't know the protocol of the credit union. Remember, credit unions are like small.
No, but
group.
even if you go to a bank, what do you do with this money? Because when I come back from the US, I have to bring in me social security card, me tax information, everything else from America. What the hell does Guyana and America have to do looking into each other's accounts? Knowing very well that money laundering act and laws is almost nonsense.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, right? We don't know that's one. And then if he was right, and he found them wrong, right? In the normal sense of lawsuit, he's supposed to get a big lawsuit off of them.
No,
of course.
It's simple as that.
Listen, guys, let's not look at the story, but let's look at the law. Now, if we look at law, my information is not supposed to be out there from that credit union.
That is the first breach.
That's the first breach. All right. So from that standpoint, you really can't move the case forward if there was a breach. And this is straight up, bro. I mean, if any legal minds are looking at this, they know they will advise me. But based on my my little knowledge of bumping around with a few lawyers, I know that the beginning or the origin of it is where it starts. So if you don't have that, how do you divulge somebody's information? Why? And then you have to ask the question, why his information specifically was divulged.
Now that too is, why was a copy of this information out there? Where did it come from? Because I don't expect it coming from the bank manager, right?
Or the credit union manager. I mean,
correct. So, which teller y'all got wholesale selling information within the system?
Exactly. And this person is in the police force, because the police credit union we talking about. We talking about a public credit union here.
Is the problem?
Police credit union.
So, which accountant, individual dealing with my documents was selling my information to the ops, as we would call it in the street?
Yeah, you selling my info to the ops.
He is the one that's actually looking and seeking some kind of thing for this matter, or is
no,
just
well,
a public?
This is we having a conversation and we telling them the legal side of how to take actions. But based on the breakdown of the story, after this information was released, he would have stepped aside, went on leave, and allowed the investigation to carry on. Now, if I doing this thing on a corruption level, why are you stepping aside? Me guys stay in office for cover up meeting?
Bro, that's a private matter between them. But if it says, I don't even understand what's the. I don't know.
Exactly.
My bro.
You see where it's confusing, right?
My bro. From the time you see this guy decide, okay, let me do this. Let me step aside. You conduct your investigation. Go ahead. Conduct your investigation. Let me see how based on what is released out there, my laundering or illegal monies or whatever, how that come in. All right, because I think I don't know, but I think police officers work for money, especially high-ranking officers. They work for money. So I don't see how I don't know. This whole hullabaloo about 60 million is like, I mean, if it was in the US and it was 60 million US and a cop depositing 60 million US, well, yeah, we could raise eyebrows. But the average salary for NYPD cop is 72,000 a year. So he money here really is no money. So I don't know what this hullabaloo is all about, because
Naturally,
what
half
we
of
do,
your house, half of your big house that you're building.
locking up a cop in America because he money laundering. He making 72,000 a year. I mean, bro, it don't come together. I mean, we would have, for me, I need further details,
Of course.
because I don't look at the scenario, especially with the sensationalization of news stories in Guyana. And we know every reporter in Guyana got a side. Don't let me lie to myself here. Every
Exactly.
reporter in
You know,
Guyana got an angle and a side.
it might have been a undercover sense of information that was or wants to be gathered from higher sources in
So
the
wait. So you're saying it may have been an undercover sting operation that was
correct
conducted on
in the
social
sense
media?
of
So this is the
in the sense
problem,
of-
right?
in the sense of police officers are finding ways not to take their money to the real banks, but they're putting it into the credit union, their credit union, and that's how they're hiding the money from the source of what can be,
No,
everybody
well,
can
we
get
can't
into
say that because this is the only story and only personal information
Well, you
that
never
came out.
know. But you never know what might have been the sting operation that started, and he was one
This
of
is
the.
where
We
But
got to
which
figure this man.
corruption.
but hold on, Sherman. Is which sting operation? Which authority had this sting operation to do this sting on
It
him?
might be. It might be the investigators investigating
in, internal. So let me say
Yeah.
internal investigation happening.
But
Yeah.
you
Hence
don't.
why he stepped aside, allowed
but-
it to continue,
but
right?
If so, even if so, do you do an internal investigation on social media?
Well, I don't know who jumped that out, but that's something that I
No,
know.
well,
I
I
would
would go
have.
right back to what
Would have
Martin
allowed
said.
the
This
matter.
is what I'm saying.
I would have
It
allowed the
goes
matter
right
to
back.
go through, prove
Mhm.
my case. When I finish proving my case, then drop the lawsuit.
Of
No,
course.
no. The person, no. It can't work like that, bro. The person who released the man's private information has got to come out first.
Mhm.
No,
All right.
Come
Hold
to
on.
the bank.
I'll tell you why. In
The
order
bank
to
guy
have a
pressured them.
no,
So when I
in
press
order
the bank guy pressured them.
no, well, I
You
don't
want to
know.
do it,
We don't know if the credit union had cameras in the building to see when he came in and the transaction was going on. All right, and they could have seen. Okay, we know exactly who the teller was.
Why you think when somebody got a problem with the bank here, right? The first thing they just do is try to settle you down. Then they just run the camera. They can try to figure out how it all happened. If they realize that there are people in the whole mix, you can't blame. You gotta blame the whole confidentiality of the bank itself coming from somebody that you employ. So now when I drop the thing on you, you gotta fire you people, you gotta do what you gotta do with them. But
No, but
it comes through you.
But Sherwin, what I'm trying to emphasize here in this particular case,
Yeah.
the credit union is not a public credit union. So it's not open to the public. It's open for police officers. That's the first thing. The people who are in there are police officers. All right. So the first aspect to any investigation there is which police officer in the police credit union breached protocol to expose a senior officer's financial information to somebody who could post that on social media. Bro, that is jail time if people don't know. All right? That is where the crux of that is where it starts. It's not about the guy bringing in the 60 million, bro, because if the credit union had certain criteria and rules in there regarding how you bring your money in, when he brought the money in, those rules would have applied, whether he could have put the money in or not. All right. And that was, again, not public information. So, regardless of how you twist it and turn it, the person responsible for taking that photograph of the man's private information of his transaction between himself and the credit union, which is supposed to be in the police, because he's a police and they are also police. The person going to jail.
But there's the people that we have to depend on for the safety and security
Exactly,
of the
dude.
land.
You can't have any individual who would
And the
break
state power
protocol.
another. If the
It
state
doesn't work that
power
way.
another what we do.
It doesn't work that way. Listen, if something was illegally done, because somebody might be looking at this and saying, so then Malachi is condoning corruption. No, I'm not. What I'm saying, evidence has got to be provided first. You can't look at a scenario and just decide based on what you're seeing and your angle of perspective that this is wrong.
Yeah, but let me, like I said, man, but still, we never know what might have been the little investigation that is started.
So there
Because
wasn't an investigation.
no. I'm just talking about overhead in the sense of we've been learning that a lot of police is bringing their money and put it into the police credit union.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with all of that, remember it's run by the police, the arm of the police.
Right.
Now they turned and said, yo, do you know this man come with a whopping 16 million, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Big bosses jump to the car. Where you got this money from, bro? We got to know where you got this money from. This is too much money. You just bring in one time like that.
But again, Sherwin,
No, he's going to say...
my point is this.
No, he's going to say... He's going to
Mhm.
say, okay, I got it from wedding gifts, etc., etc., etc. So they're going to say, well, we got to prove it. So now, in the whole process of all of that, somebody that is not professional enough, we know where the source come from, They just take the information and they just put it out there. No confidentiality of the system, how he can go about dealing with that. Because after all, he's a police. Sometimes there's clause in a job situation where you can't see your own company, There could be clause like that, but at the end of the day, there's somebody that just want to get you or put you down. We find a way that, okay, we throw this out to the public, you're playing a thief, man. You did do me something, I got to deal with you. Go back everybody though.
Sherwin, let me ask some very straightforward questions to this, right? One, was there a protocol in the credit union that says there's a certain amount you can or cannot deposit at one time?
Maybe there is. And he try a thing.
So this is where the credit union needs to then come forward with the documents.
The police
what is in your bylaws as a company?
The police is the slowest source to giving information to the public in Guyana.
I still hold
and
my point. And
they should be the fastest source of giving information.
So I still hold my point, and my point is this. And it's based legally and legally alone.
Correct.
Legally, there would be a no contest or a no case because one, the information garnered was garnered illegally. All right. Now the police, and this is I gotta emphasize, and this is where we gotta be really serious and watch. Now, police. Now, what needs to happen in order for me to change my context or perspective is that they would have to have more information of, was there an actual corrupt act in taking $16 million to the credit union, the police credit union? All right. Was that actually a corrupt act? Was he insisting that the money be put in after the rules said no, it couldn't go in? In that case, you have something. But we have to know that part, which we don't know. The credit union hasn't said anything. The only aspect of this case we have is the leaked information of the man's private business. That's what we see in. Where's the other part of it?
Legal wise, he have a case against them,
He have a case
right? The
against
credit
them.
union.
Of
Now,
course.
let me take it a little bit further, right? With communication, the news people them ask the commissioner, well, based on what going on out here, right? What going on in there? And he then mentioned, well, there was no transaction of the sort. Nothing like that would have been taking place. No investigation is happening. Right? Again, understanding your portfolio is very important.
Very important.
Right? Now, me as a police officer, I would have said an investigation is ongoing. We have heard about it. An investigation is ongoing. And I believe in any question being asked to any high-ranking official in government, there should always be an investigation ongoing. You know why? Especially in Guyana. We people like talk nuff. And we like make up thing. Right?
To give them the right source of news.
Correct.
Or of information.
Then a couple days after, we would have seen the minister come out and say, well, there's an investigation going on in the matter. Just like I mentioned, right? Now, obviously, there's two things. A time between the information came out to the time the police commissioner responded, right? Now, you can't expect this man to know everything going on in the house.
But that's what I'm saying. You got to be very quick on the thought. When people come into you, you got to be quick on the thought of, listen, I will not, because as a big man in the business, you know, you got to say it professionally. I was not briefed as yet from the reliable sources that has to be doing or that is doing the investigation. So I cannot give no comment on that.
This is why earlier in the discussion we mentioned he should have immediately made reference to his
now you look
PR
stupid.
department.
Now you look
he
stupid.
should have made reference to the PR department.
The minister now coming out and saying something, and you look as though then I was covering up this thing. And this
and again,
it's kind of like how the government of Guyana would say, well, we didn't know nothing Guyana with Mohammed's them for 3 years straight. And then the sanction dropped.
Yeah.
You see where not using a PR team.
When the sanction dropped, that man said, we would like to know what's the reason for the sanction and what's the detail of all whatever concerning the sanction so we could assist.
No. They want to assess. They want to be able to assess because remember the US says they lost 50 million US dollars in taxes. All right. So the idea was to get the information that leads to the trail of this loss of the 50 million. Whether it would be in which form. Was it in terms of bribery was happening with the customs officials? Was it bribery at a higher level than
with
that,
ministers,
which would expose other people? So that I think is the right way to go. Yes. All right. You got to get the information because if you don't have the information, you don't have anything to work on.
But
all right.
The natural problem is the officials coming out and speaking before their time. Right? Hence why we got corruption versus communication.
Official has a right to come out and face the public as soon as an event is occurred. But no. Look at this. Like if we got a school shooting, the commissioner is going to come out and face the media right away to say
that is a high level case. It's warranted.
It's still high level everything you're doing. What I'm saying, you face the media. You say, listen, this is what happened. This is what we learned happened. This is so. And as we speak, we are in whatever. Until further notice, we can give you more details on that. And it's
Exactly.
All right,
quite
Sherwin.
short.
Just for clarity in my mind, are you saying that the minister is supposed to come out and
No,
deal with that
no, no, no.
situation?
The minister's supposed to have representatives.
Which
That has to,
in government terms,
that
I
has
believe
to
that should
brief.
be the DPI.
that has to come out and brief people quick. As
But we don't.
don't-
We
and one of the things that you always want to do, if your country going through a disaster, if your country going through a thing, if one of your athletes they at Carifesto and just get a goal, somebody's supposed to come out with a flash news. Yo, we just won goal.
Mhm.
Da, 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 da. You gonna wait till them cheering come in, tired like a beast, and then try to tell you, oh, after everybody talk about it, then the government gonna make it a big scenery. Like, okay, now we ready for talk about it nicely. The story don't go down the drain. We want
No,
to
you
hear
see-
it from the right way of how it should be done. You know what I mean?
But we don't have that system. That is the problem we have, Sharon. We don't have the right way system. We have private journalists working like them as the government. So anything happen, if naturally, if a man like Critic could reach at a scene before the police or before anything, it is a problem. Because now he walking all up and down crime scene, you know, information coming out before a time. You don't take your time and understand. Well, here's what
Critic-
happened. We have to control this way, which is called control journalism.
Exactly.
Information need to be controlled, Maji.
But this is the thing. If you bloggers is gonna be bloggers, right? You cannot consider a man that's running and doing his little blogging or his streaming or
No,
whatever
he's
he's
not.
doing.
No, it's not.
right?
Mhm.
After all, because if you had set up a system where people are waiting for the right source of news to bang, then they will be like, okay, this is confirmation.
Mm.
You know for sure that man come out and said they just came out and they said XYZ. Boom. And you just keep going along the way. But like if we get something going on at the White House, that woman might come out about 4 times a day
Exactly.
because she has to continually.
There are
keep briefing.
updates giving.
We problem
updates.
we don't have a woman
Giving
nor a man
updates.
coming out one
No.
time a day.
No.
That is our problem. NCN sits
Yep.
and everybody doing artists. Oh, this artist popular. People covering a tree drop on a car. This happening. They're not rushing to call and say, hey, let me call the minister. This is happening at this point. Let me reach out to the minister, grab the information from he or she directly.
Mhm.
Let me reach out to DPI official. Let me grab the information from them.
For example, I've heard when you were on the streets of Guyana, you hear rumors about this situation happening, rumors about that situation happening. Where are again, I mentioned the investigative reporters or reports or let's say people who are creating content or documentary from NCN that are actually on the road looking for these stories. All right, because for example, there's a rumor that hey, we got a big influx of Venezuelans and Brazilians and everybody taking away jobs. Isn't that something that should be a story, an investigative story,
Continuous story.
a continuous story
I
where we
suppose
have
somebody
our-
living on the borderline and every day taking
not
a
only
little
that, not
something.
they have a report from the
Every
borderline
day.
and they have a report from the city. They go around the city and they look at the construction projects, they look at the road projects. We see who is working on these projects, and we could see, interview them. Hi, where are you from? Are you from Cuba? Are you from Venezuela? And we make what is called real comparative with information. We go
Mhm.
to the Ministry of Tourism, we ask them, okay, so based on your information, how many people have come in for work in Guyana? We can make a comparison and an average on the people we have interviewed on the road that we could see that obviously in Guyanese.
Mm.
So where are these kind of stories to educate our people, open the minds of Guyanese? Where are those stories? But we talk about them on social media every day, innit? We talk on them on social media, but where is the journalistic side of that now?
Yeah, by time a journalist might be doing predominantly neutral type of reporting in Guyana, where wrong is wrong, right is right, or he's just reporting on what exactly is the
Well,
situation.
as soon as you do that, you're not going to be the
Bro,
most popular guy.
right,
You're not going to
but
be
not
popular.
not the popularity alone. You will
Mhm.
find leaders of the opposition or leaders on the ruling party that is not in too happy with you reporting
And they're coming for
all
you.
and they're coming for you.
But that is
Root for
journalism,
you.
though.
No, but
But
that
That
is
that's what
within
it's
journalism,
supposed
though.
to
itself
be.
is journalism.
But that is journalism. You
Because
remember
we
Richard?
know in America, all Malachi, we know in
Mhm.
America, if you put out certain information, you are dead. And these man does work with every single body, which is why we could see the other day or a year or however long ago, the vice people come to Guyana, link up with the Chinese on this half, he linked she up with this another half, and they went around until they reached the Jagdio. You remember we seen different days and different videos whereby they said how they are doing it, that they're meeting with this person, they're hiding the cameras. We're meeting with this person and we couldn't use the cameras. In Guyana, everybody using the cameras and the mics. We're not hiding to try to find the information. We make up the information on spot and put it out there.
Yo.
It's like, man, this is what we're faced with. But then we have a official board of communication that have no right, legal, proper laws put together, which is the Broadcasting Commission. And then the what is the other private body, which is super private, that controls
the press association.
Yes.
The press association body. It
so
is
now
super
we have
private.
the broadcast commission and the press association who just sits on their tail and not say, well, you sending wrong information, let me pluck you out. Not by killing you, obviously, but pluck you out by highlighting you cannot trust this person to bring information to you. We don't have that. Because this man taking pay, the man taking pay, the man taking pay. Now we have a bunch of functioning, as I think it's called, illiterates.
Yeah, that's my description of some individuals in GT. It's like functional illiteracy, bro. For real, it's functional illiteracy. But more and more every time we have these discussions, it brings out so much, and the time flies away so quickly. we gotta boil it down for tonight. But Sherwin, your final thoughts on this particular topic by corruption and communication.
Corruption versus communication in the sense of Guyanese politics or the Guyanese community in the whole. I think first and foremost, the leaders of the country and also the people of the country in general, we all have to come to a sense of maturity in order to everyday sense of living and also our everyday sense of leadership. So in that sense, where you must be in a place where you have the people understand that you have a job to do, and it's not like you're trying to be considered with every little thing that you do to be the nice guy. You have a job to do, you get it done, and they must apply themselves to new systems that will benefit them in the long run, rather than you try to make a man feel nice for today or make a man feel nice for whatever it is that is happening. We want to make sure that you good, but the rest of people are gonna go to know the system is a system, and we all need to apply, and we all need to come to that maturity level to make sure that we go with what is actually injected as policies in the system, right? Coming
Mhm.
from the leaders that will benefit them to be people that we can say these or this was a great leader because of his XYZ. You know what I mean?
Policies, yeah, the
So that's all
policies.
I can say. Yeah, that's all I could
Mm.
say. You guys just I'm just being encouraging you guys to come to that level straight up.
Hmm.
Well, I would add to that by saying we are lacking in policies, which is where we actually need to fix things. If we could fix the policies, that would create a system to function correctly as individuals, as entities, as government officials, and everything else in between. Right. And once we have these things in place, like for me personally, as a man of the book, wherever it's written, I follow. Obviously, if it's wrong, you have common sense to determine it do. Right. But once it leads you down a nice, pretty path, you follow it. Right.
Hmm.
In the topic of corruption versus communication, well, we know in Guyana we got enough corruption. It has been able to become a monster at this point, which is why we have to talk about it. And if we continue to allow it to grow, we can't control it. So we need to start knocking the head them off and then buzz down the body, like we was doing the snake and thing. Right? So once it's done, it's done. There shouldn't be 2025 moving forward with added corruption.
Hmm.
Let we start knocking down what we got, deal with what we got. In the communication aspect, well, NCN, I think Minister Kwame Mackay, and everybody else within the broadcast commission, the one who is certified as a so-called journalist, everybody, they have to come together, create policies that suits the people, and then you slap lawsuits, as we like to do in America, behind that. To add advice, Officer Brutus, I do think you have a very pretty case against the credit union. So when investigation done and
That's them.
vacation done, file a
That's them.
lawsuit. We will only learn the hard way, unfortunately. You say? So if everybody gets sue everybody. We've
Yeah.
seen it with critic. Everybody wants to critic. Well, it's about time everybody starts suing everybody. At some point in time, the new judge, because we did have 10 new judges, some one of them must come up with some proper policies for the country. And we can all not be functioning idiots. I don't.
Marty coming blazing today.
I don't
My-
like seeing things going stupid
Yeah.
in a stupid manner.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, my final thoughts for tonight on corruption and communication. I do believe that the journalism in Guyana really needs to be totally neutral. All right, bringing the real facts to the table. And in those cases where maybe a journalist who's following a particular story may or may not have the entirety of the story or the other variables or possibilities in that story, I think they should reach out to individuals who may have some information first on it before they elaborate in that case to break the story first. But in breaking that story first without having a firm grip of the story and also its background, you then disseminate information that kind of looks a bit shady to the people who understand how certain things
Mhm.
work. So, in my estimation, I think that we should look at those things a little better. I think that the Press Association and the Broadcast Commission, they should have some sort of link because they must have rules in terms of what is disseminated to the population. Because let's say something is going to happen, let's say, God forbid, a tsunami is happening. We would need to be able to alert the population very fast. And we don't want people at that point saying, well, it ain't real, man. And they're telling others on social media that's not real. That's just a hypothetical scenario. So from that point of view, I think we need to be more strict. And I noticed the vice president, outside of doing his weekly press conference, he did something that I haven't seen since they're now in government, where he decided, okay, I'm going to go sit in studio with a journalist and do an interview, because a lot of people were saying,
Legit.
why is he always on social media with somebody who is not, as they classify, a legitimate journalist? But there's so much we could talk about this topic, but we got to wrap it up for this evening. Thank you so much for being here with us. Make sure you check us out each and every Tuesday right here on Majestic Music Radio with a conversation. Myself, Martin Al-Amin, and Selector Sherwin. Before we wrap up tonight, you don't know, Sherwin, what it is.
Yes, the disclaimer: the views and information or opinion expressed during this program are solely those of the host, guests, callers involved in the program, and do not necessarily represent the views of Majestic Music Radio, its management, or the host or advertisers. Majestic Music is not responsible and do not verify for accuracy of any of the information contained in this radio program. The program does not constitute medical or professional advice and is solely for entertainment purpose only. All right? But we always say, if you have any questions about what is being said, you can still dig in and go to Google search, or you can go to the AI search and make sure that you put all the information that we might have given to you. All right? So, yeah, man, we know for sure that in the Tri-State area, or especially in this area, these parts of the world, the heat wave is on. So, guys, whoever it is that's listening from this side, just make sure that you keep hydrated, okay? Because the heat is on. Today it was about 105 in New York. So
yeah, full fry brains.
Yeah, so you know what it is.
You got to put on real cotton. Now cotton polyester.
By the time my man done fry drop. So if your meat too soft, it's quick fire.
This temperature for fry your melon into egg. That's fry your egg, but it is like an egg.
So anyway, people, course, guys, look out for us again next Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And of course, tomorrow.
And for sure.
Tomorrow
you might be
morning,
seeing us all in the studio one day.
In the studio one day. One day coming soon. Plus tomorrow morning, right here on Majestic Music Radio from 8 to 11. It's Wednesday tomorrow. You know we do tomorrow, right? We can gather music to make your waistline move. So check it out right here on Music Radio. Download the application as well. All right, people? Until then, good evening. Have a great night.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Yeah. Peace out.
Listen.
Go so with your badness. We know you're not slackness. This a Rasta business. Run, come give me the roots and culture. Chase them vulture. Go so with your badness. We know you're not slackness. This a Rasta business. Run, come give me the roots and culture. Go so with your badness. We know you're not slackness. This a Rasta business. Run, come give me the roots and culture. Chase them vulture.
It's passion. Give me. Alright. I love to feel your body when it's close to mine.
When the Rasta man them come together like the torch and the wicked catch a fire. Tell you what I want. When they get to you, them try fi better and the system try fi turn them in a shatter. Tell you what I want. One Babylon, highly Selassie rain down lightning and thunder. Tell you what I want.
Lights, camera, someone.